Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever. This is a ladder match between Turbo2 in the red Cybern and ThomasHiatt blue Aeon. The map, Tagcraftius Maximus, 10x10 map with a land portion in the middle, surrounded by water, some islands, and most uniquely, a lot of mexes underwater. So you got first land, no power generator. For Turbo, one power generator for Thomas. It's more common to go for one power generator, I think, than zero. Turbo messed up, maybe? Or maybe that's intended. Not sure why he would walk so far before building more mexes. Gonna slow him down a bit. This, on this side you can actually walk to here and build this mex with the commander, obviously not with an engineer. With the commander, yes. Don't think you can reach this one though. Just stand here and you can build this one. Don't think you can do that on the top side though. Just FYI. So Thomas going second land. He's only going to have 2 power generators with his hydro. Needs to build. Bit idle. Happens often. Alas. And there's going to be a lot of power generators, it seems, before second air for Turbo. We have 3 landscapes for Thomas. Moving around, he's looking for labs here. This one should be much further forward. I mean, if he spots a lab here, he's not going to have time to actually react to it properly, so it's not actually that valuable. On this side, you can see this guy is probably going to go into the water, I guess. But this guy, he should just send them forward. And then you keep watching, and if something appears on the radar, retreat the scout to keep it alive and keep a close eye on whatever's coming. So we have air factory beginning now, as Thomas has just finished his, and he's going for a bomber. So he spots an NG here. Let's look at the expansion right now. So we only have 5 mexes. 6th one just finishing, 7th one. So I have to say 7 now. Meanwhile, we have 10 for Turbo. So Turbo, superior expansion, no doubt. That's not an insignificant advantage. And the mantis are a bit idle. Don't really like the mantis sitting here. It's not a good use of early tanks. I mean, if you could invest in 2 early tanks, you want to be aggressive, and you can see he could be probing in different places. This tank could be here, this tank could be forward, putting pressure. Give your opponent something to think about. But look at the bomber getting instantly killed, achieves absolutely nothing. See, Inti was out quickly. Oh, we have some assistance on the air factory. That might have been the reason that Inti was out so fast. The AC had still not left the base. Actually, he's building now a 4th factory. How much mass does he have? He has some mass, and almost none of that is from reclaim. It's just generated mass. So see, he's gone quite low on tanks, it seems, and he may even get a raid off on the top side. So overall, Turbo's build looks pretty damn nice. He's going to win air control. He's going to get a raid here on this very important engineer, which is expanding to 5 mexes, and perhaps the hydro. And if he was really on point, maybe he could get another kill, but it looks like Thomas has reacted. Thomas with only his 3rd land factory up now, and no naval factory started. The expanding engineer on this side has actually expanded, got the mexes. Usually you would build these mexes and then build a naval factory, and that would be decent timing for your first naval factory if you don't want to really rush navy. But he's just gone for expansion, and he's going to edge build the hydrocarbon. But without the mexes here in this expansion, then he's not going to really need that power. And now a bomber coming in on the engineers, and they're not dodging. Oh, he only killed one though. A bit lucky for Thomas actually to only lose one engineer to that bomber. And Turbo comes in and wins air. So hopefully we'll see another bomber. Oh, we have a transport. And the first frigate for Turbo is going to come out very soon. Turbo only leaving the base now. Oh my god, his eco management has just died a death. That is disgraceful. But on the other side, he's been doing damage. He's been using his units well. He should probably could attack these mexes. Could be sending more units across maybe. But what he badly needs is build power. Needs build power really bad. He shouldn't be building this factory, I think. He should be building power rather than a factory. I think that's a problem. Building factories at this stage is not what you need. If we look at the power income here, we have 500 for Thomas. The hydrocarbon helps. And we only have 360 for Turbo. Insane power stall and mass waste there. It's pretty nasty. This frigate getting reclaimed. It's going to lose some of its HP. Oh, come on, kill the engineer, dude. But he's going after the hydrocarbon, also a good target. But if he goes for the engineer, then he can kill everything else quickly afterwards. So we're going to have pretty fast expansion to the islands. For Turbo, that's good for his mass income. Thomas trying to secure this side with his ACU, making a PD. Does he need a PD? I don't know. Maybe a factory would have been better. But he's not sending any tanks down here really, so PD is reasonable. Now a sub out, we have 2 naval factories and a sub coming after the frigate. Will eventually kill the frigate. We have 3 naval factories, a bit of idle stuff here, some mexes untaken. And what is planned here? We have anti-air turret. Nothing planned here. And anti-air turret it seems. Yep, and a radar. So no PD, just anti-air turrets. So a transport could land there with only 1 turret defending. And now let's take a look at the mexes. With this quick expansion, we have 30 mexes, 32 on mexes, no T2. Oh, I'm wrong, there is a T2 mex there. Versus 25, that's going to even out once he gets the islands. So quite even on mass income now, but that power stall is still going on. 800 income now, and he's still at about minus 100 power. So he never really corrected this economy imbalance. And now we've got T2 land coming up. Because he is against an Aeon player, he doesn't want to go for a lot of, well, just only T1. You can see he's mixed in quite a lot of artillery, which are going to be pretty effective versus Aurora. Oh, the eco management. Oh, guys. Yeah, when you're having to build power with nearly 10 engineers on a map like this, you made an error at some point. And a transport looks like it's coming across to try and steal the islands, but it's been spotted and it's actually taking damage from the frigate anti-air. Even I think the engineer on board took some damage from that AA. And the nice position of the Inties. Goodbye transport, and it lands on the island where it can be reclaimed. And the units on board can be reclaimed. That's nice. On the top side, pretty bad position for Turbo. He hasn't been able to take these forward 4 mexes and hydrocarbon. He hasn't put any pressure on these mexes whatsoever. On the other side, Tom's doing better. He's suffered damage here, but is putting pressure on this side and is trying to secure these mexes. There's a kill for the eruptor. Now he hasn't dealt with this at all, which is not great. You can see this has been killed by arties from below, most likely. Almost definitely. But on this side, this has been allowed to live, and that's like, look at this radar here. This amazing radar. Can see everything. Can see everything coming out of the base. Can see everything in the expansion, and that is just way too much intel to allow your opponent to have. In Thomas's scenario, you can't allow just this much intel for free. Just bomber that. Kill it with artillery. Anything. Now we have a huge power overflow for Turbo. This is just how it goes with economy management. 1 minute you're stalling, the next you've overbuilt power. We have a transport moving somewhere for some reason. Oh, is he expanding to here? And Thomas has gone for T2 Navy. Now this is kind of unusual on this map to go for T2 Navy, because the landmass is rather small and there's so many mexes that every bit of ground you lose will hold mexes on it. So map control is really important, which makes it difficult to actually go for T2 Navy. T2 Navy is quite expensive, and T1 can give you map control and therefore better economy. But he's gone for T2 Navy. He is not going for T2 land. Does not want to go for T2 land. He wants to take control of the Navy and use his commander on the land with his Aurora. He's going for double gun now. Maybe he'll go for shield, I don't know. But probably he'll try and make something happen with the double gun first. On the top side, losing a decent amount of units. There's a lot of dead Aurora here to an ACU and supporting units. A lot of mass in the bank. Another advantage of Navy is that it's not very power intensive. Costs a lot of mass and not as much power. And he does have significantly less power income. Probably needs a T2 PGen right about now. T2 Engineer is coming out, and that's going to be for TMD perhaps, and also a T2 PGen, no doubt. On the other side, we have quite a few hoplites, so Turbo going the land route. Has he seen? He has seen that this has darkened, and now he sees T2 Navy here. He sees the Vesper, so he should be aware that T2 Navy is here, and he has a lot of engineers right next to this factory which he's just constructed, and he's going T2 Navy himself in response. Oh, hoplite getting destroyed by artillery, and the reclaim vaporized. And there's quite a lot of hoplites here that are not doing anything. So we have TMD in the base. TMD but no TML. Could be a mistake. Because, well, look at these exposed T2 mexes here. And even the PGen, I don't see a TMD queued up afterwards, or a shield or anything, so TML definitely an option for Turbo, although he is lacking for mass big time. And now his hoplite's having trouble because he does not have radar coverage in this area anymore. And he also doesn't have stealth. Needs to keep dodging the fervor shots. He'll quickly drop his hoplites. So he's going to need quite a bit of attention to make these hoplites work. On the top side, his ACU has no upgrades. He has so much power. You can see he's actually already reclaimed some stuff. Reclaimed the factory. Well, reclaiming it now. Reclaimed some PGens. Still overflowing huge amounts of power. So, oh, the commander has returned to the middle for Thomas. And here we have his Vesper has 700 damage. And, oh, now it's in range of the Scuttle torpedo launcher and it's getting destroyed. That's not a good use of that T2 unit there, unfortunately. Over here we have T1 subs getting absolutely annihilated by an Aeon destroyer. There goes another one. But the destroyer taking some unnecessary damage. Oh, two for one there in that shot. Both those frigates took the full brunt of the blast from the weapon, but he needs to retreat. Bit of a micro fail here. Losing a lot of HP on the destroyer. It may still survive, however. An Exodus can kill every single frigate in 2 shots with its cannon. It's pretty impressive. And it looks like he will escape, and he has 3,200 damage. Mass killed there. It's pretty impressive. Now you have an impressive T2 force, but it's not really making any headway. It's still right outside the base. Destroyer on the top side doing damage. Where are the destroyers for Turbo? Here's one. Now one option for Turbo is with all that power overflow, he's actually has less power income now. Again, he's down at 1,300, probably because he lost maybe this hydrocarbon, or maybe he never built it. Maybe it's something else. He could go for the torpedo. It's rather expensive, but very, very powerful. 1,500 mass, 37,500 power. Quite an expensive thing, but so powerful. Now he's had real difficulty on this side because he has no radar. Thomas did actually take this, and it looks like he dropped there as well. And I'm kind of surprised we have no T2 air at all, given that Exodus have no anti-air, neither do the frigates. It could be quite powerful with basically any T2 air unit could be used. He doesn't have to use torpedo bombers. Oh, no anti-air in this army whatsoever. 3 T1 bombers come in, and all these hoplites could just disappear very quickly. There's no reaction from Turbo. Oh, 5 hoplites just go down before he reacts, and now he's trying to dodge. He's not gonna. There goes another one. This one only survives because of a vet level it has. Turbo has stealth. Oh, he's right on top of these Destros, and those Destros could have got overcharged there. Pretty aggressive from Thomas to move in, but Turbo is playing with fire. Oh, the Salem getting pinged by those blasts. Needs some constant micro to avoid the shots. And he takes another one, and turning, the Salem cannot shoot, unlike the Exodus, which has 360 degrees of fire. The Salem is limited with its front mounted cannon, but on this side he could be pushing forward here. Thomas with the double gun is looking for the overcharge. He has no radar coverage, so here comes the scouts. He's brought them over. Now they will die pretty quick to the anti-air, but oh, he's right on top of it now, but doesn't have enough storage. With 14k, he does not do enough damage to kill that destroyer. Although maybe he just finished that second. Yeah, I think he didn't actually have the full 14k in storage. An Exodus moving in, but this Exodus looks like it's just gonna suicide into this many frigates. He could get killed by all of these frigates and the Salem. Again, that looked like a 2-for-1 shot from the Exodus. The top side is completely destroyed. The bottom side for Thomas is more or less destroyed. He has 1 mass extractor. He has some factories and stuff, some units. Does have T2 land units, but The economy is not growing for either player, rather it's contracting. Turbo, well, let's see, 61 mass income, 63, and slightly more for Thomas. This is bad. We need, the frigates can move in here and kill this, but the frigates are retreating. Maybe Turbo doesn't have vision. He doesn't really, well, he only has the vision of the frigates. He needs, if he brings all these in, look how many frigates this is. 12 frigates and a destroyer, although the destroyer is weak. There's damage to be done. On this side, T2 army is here to fight the T1 army, but it's also getting wrecked by Exodus off the shore. 2 of them here just stopping anything from being built. And a T2 army in middle. This is where damage could be done. There's no place an Exodus could actually... An Exodus cannot shoot this far, of course. Oh no! A waste of a Salem alone versus two Exodus, while we have the frigates back here well out of range. A lot going on, and that leads to a lot of miss micro. T2 air from Thomas. First player to go T2 air in this game. We're 20 minutes in. Bit unusual, honestly. Turbo now has got the torpedo and is making Salems. It's time to use them. He has 3 outside his base that he's not using. On this side we have quite a few T2 tanks, but Thomas is reluctant to push out, lest he just suicide them, I guess. Now 3 Exodus class destroyers against only frigates. That's pretty bad for the frigates. And torpedo bombers out as well. What is the air situation? Let's look at Turbo. Not that many inties. 25, 24 that have fuel. 43 for Thomas, so he's making quite a few scouts, and the Salems have finally moved out. Oh, he left one behind. Oops. And those Exodus destroyers are just running away, waiting for the torpedo bombers to come in and do some damage, and he can take out this Salem very quickly, and the second one may die pretty quick as well. Now the Exodus have moved out. The T2 army can move forward. The army in middle that's been sitting here for quite a while, well, we see 2 rhinos just got overcharged. ThomasHiatt returned, and he actually has a TML as well. And the torpedo bombers dropping on the Salems. 2 of them are going to go down. And he's reaching for the land to avoid the torpedoes. This one does not make it. This one is just on the land now, and so can't be torped. Nice move to avoid the torpedo damage, but he did lose 2 destroyers there. And the Exodus come back in to fight the T2 land. The ACU is here to fight the T2 land in middle, and on the bottom, I'm not sure what the army is supposed to be doing. It has a lot of anti-air in it. It has some hoplites, has some stealth. He could be moving forward. On the bottom side we have now 4 Exodus class destroyers versus only a single Salem, and the rest is frigates. The frigates are never going to get close enough. You can see as they move in, the depth charges and torpedoes take a lot of HP off the frigates that are trying to catch up, and they never do catch up. And it's looking good for Thomas. The Mermaid goes down, which gave him stealth. Actually, the Salem is dead. Is that the Salem there? Oh no, the Salem isn't dead. Here it is. And the torpedo's getting killed after 1 or 2 passes by the frigate anti-air. But still, we have a big imbalance. And in a lot of naval combat, you will have much more space than this. In the smaller spaces like this, the frigates have difficulty. It's pathfinding problems, and you can't really trap the Exodus. The Exodus are just going to keep retreating. They're going to go through here quite easily. You're going to get 3 Exodus through here, unlike getting 10 or 15 frigates through, and the Exodus all the while are shooting you from out of range. So the Exodus just far superior. Pure Exodus spam here is working better than this frigate and Salem stuff. Thomas now moving T3 land. T2 land from Turbo, it has to be said, it has been really ineffective. We have a lot of rhinos, and they have achieved sweet fuck all in the grand scheme of things. Thomas has not made that much T2 land at all. Let's take a look. How many, apologies. We have 1 blaze. So yeah, the T2 land investment versus the Exodus. Well, the Exodus has done a lot more, and there's so much T2 land, and now Thomas is going for the shield on his commander and T3 land, so you can see him constantly, well, moving the goalposts. He doesn't feel any danger really from the T2 land, and nor should he. It hasn't really done much. I mean, there's definitely potential if Turbo was to push here in the middle where he's away from the Exodus. But again, he's afraid of the ACU. Now if he knows the ACU is here, oh, that's a big suicide of air from Thomas. And actually Turbo has immediately seen the T3 land. Oh, is that for the ACU? Or is that for the... oh, yeah, it's for the... oh my god, he just killed a nearly fully complete Salem, as well as doing 6,000 damage to the Naval HQ. The TMD is not built yet. And he loses the T2 Naval HQ. Oh my god, that is a good move from Thomas. There is no TMD, or perhaps the TMD was killed. You can see you can actually torpedo this TMD launcher, which is quite it's quite dangerous to put them on land, on the water actually. And maybe, well, again, more damage being done from well out of range. He keeps the Exodus alive, doesn't need to push right now. He knows that he's done massive damage by killing that HQ. Thomas now with a Harbinger, ominously right next to a T1 transport. So where's that transport going to bring him? Well, maybe he won't be using the transport actually. It looks like he's just going to walk across. He already has 3 Harbs and Asylum supporting them to help them out, but it looks like he's power stalling. You can see the shields popping on and off. Perhaps he hasn't finished the shield on his commander. He hasn't, so once he does, then his Harbs will get their extra 1k HP on the shield, which regens quite quickly since the T3 rebalance patch. So dropping the shield and then letting it regen is useful. Oh, he's finished the shield, but actually he does not have the power. Yes, because now he has to actually power the shield that he's constructed. Another PGen needed. He has so much power being spent. It's probably the T2 air. Now we have Harbs versus only T2 land. There's quite a few rhinos here and hoplites. So if the hoplites retreat and the rhinos move in, you can see the Harbs losing quite a bit of HP to the hoplites. But eventually it's going to be difficult. 90% T3 land now. Another T2 Naval HQ. is up. It's been replaced, but the naval battle is lost. Another Salem goes down. This Salem is going to go down very quickly. Look at that. And it's time for Thomas to push in. He has 5 Exodus class destroyers. He's destroyed parts of the islands. There's even a T2 mechs up here he could go after. If he keeps pushing, this has been killed, surely. I don't think he accidentally made storages around this. He rather rebuilt the dead T2 mechs. This Exodus here, killing the mechs is in the water and killing the torpedo defense as well. And next he can go after TMD. Now the looks like the TML has been killed by something, but I do not know what. And now a stealth field at the front and a lot of TMLs. That looks suspiciously like desperation after no doubt seeing that the naval game is lost with only 1 Salem versus maybe 6 or 7. Oh, there's 8 now, 1 just finished. And T3 land, 7 harbs, a double gun shield commander. This looks like the end. Oh, this commander is on his own, holding off the Exodus on the top here. You can see how much damage he's done. 220 HP left on this Exodus, but now seeing all these destroyers move in, he calls GG. Also, oh, he just control K'd all these. They didn't actually get killed by a single harp. So well played to ThomasHiatt. Nice use of T2 Navy. Maybe the subs weren't that good at the start. They're certainly decent. I think Turbo, well, there was some micro fails, certainly, but when you've got land, sea, and air to worry about, it's going to happen. But maybe better control of the units would make a huge difference in this game. Bit better micro, maybe taking advantage of the frigates and Salems on this side and being aggressive could have been better. Maybe also, well, the T2 land investment really never paid off, so maybe just bunching all that up, making some AA and pushing through the middle would have been good. Avoiding the Exodus and just going for the base. Basically, you can, given that it's a small landmass, you can see base wipes on this just from land pushes. And certainly if your opponent is going T2 Navy, putting a lot of mass into that, they become very vulnerable to, their base becomes very vulnerable. It's a straight line to their very short distance, so always keep in mind that on a map like this, the land is quite small, and you could go for the base push. And Thomas was using a lot of different techs, making a lot of transitions. So there's always timings where he could be weak. Anyway, that is it for today. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you'll send me any good casts, any good replays you've seen, and other good FAF YouTubers I might not have seen. Let me know, and then I will let everyone else know. So I'll see you later, but see you guys.